Hello and welcome to the lecture series on railways, harbour, tunnelling and airport for the subject code 18CV 645, module 1, session 12, A, super elevation and curves. So in this session we are going to discuss the definition of super elevation. So factors affecting the super elevation, relation between the super elevation, gauge, speed and radius of the curve, cant deficiency, negative super elevation, curves and its type, transition curve, necessity and types of transition curve, length of transition curve, and lastly the references. Moving on to the definition of super elevation. So super elevation is going to be sometimes called as a cant, or it is going to be represented as C of A or E. So that is going to be called as a super elevation. So that is going to be sometimes called as a cant, C of A or E in general term. So the super elevation is going to be called as the force that is going to counteract the effect of centrifugal force. The level of the outer rail is going to be raised with respect to the inner. So in order to introduce the centripetal force in it, so that is called as the super elevation. So that is according to the definition. So that is some amount of outer edge is going to be raised with respect to inner edge in order to introduce the centripetal forces, or otherwise to keep in equilibrium with respect to center of gravity, that is CG. The raised elevation of outer edge with respect to inner rail at a horizontal curve is called as super elevation. So that is another method of defining the super elevation. Mathematically speaking, the object of providing this super elevation is to make the force of reaction equal at both of the rail and perpendicular to the track. Thus it is going to equally distribute the weight on either of the rails. So that is to maintain the equilibrium and also equal load transfer over the rail. So try to see the image here. So in this image we are going to be given this embankment, ballast and sleeper and a rail section. So these rails are going to be raised the outer edge with respect to the inner edge. So this difference is going to be called as a E. So that is nothing but the super elevation which is maintained for a particular gauge of a G. So the same thing we can see in the plan, that is the sectional plan. So these are the sleeper and this is the outer rail has been concerned. So this is the inner rail and this check rail is been provided for the safety for the operation of the locomotive. So these are going to be the sleeper. So this rising of a outer edge with respect to the inner edge is going to be called as super elevation, especially in horizontal curves. So factors with which the super elevation is going to be depend. So it depends upon so many parameter. First one is going to be the radius of curvature. So radius of curvature is going to be the first point, how it is going to be related. Next is the frictional resistance between the wheels and the rail. So then body of the vehicle, speed at which the trains are moving and the gauge of the track. So all these are going to be accountable with respect to the super elevation. So we are going to be having a relation between the super elevation with respect to the gauge, speed and radius of the curve. So to analyze this one, we are concerned a geometry is going to be like this. So try to have a glance over this one. So this is once again the sleeper section, the rails and the wheel flanges. So due to this one, so as outer edge is been raised with respect to inner edge, so this numerical difference is going to be the super elevation, and a gauge is going to be provided from the center line of outer edge to the outer edge of the two rail. So that is going to be gauge, it is represented by G. Then W is going to be the weight of a locomotive or the train it is been concerned. So then S is going to be the inclined linear distance between the outer edge of the rail to the another inner edge of the inner rail. So that is represented by a S. So this is going to be the alpha. Alpha is an angle of inclination made with respect to horizontal plane. So this is a resolution of a forces. We maintain the center of gravity, as I explained, to be exactly equal to the center when it is moving on the circular curve or horizontal curve. So then this image is used to deduce the relation between the super elevation with respect to gauge, speed and radius of the curve. So as I explained, the W is going to be the weight of a locomotive or a moving vehicle in terms of a kg. Small v is the speed if it is measured in meter per second. Capital V is going to be the speed of a vehicle when it is being measured in kilometers per hour. R is going to be the radius in terms of a meter. Capital G is a gauge. So then G is going to be the acceleration due to gravity. So as it is been the fixed value, it is going to be 9.81 meter per second square. S is the length of inclined surface of horizontal distance. So then according to the concepts of physics, we are going to be applying the centrifugal force is going to be given by the expression. So radial acceleration is going to be v square by r. So that is nothing but it is going to be omega r square. So same thing, the radial acceleration is going to be measured a, and that is the speed when it is measured with respect to the meter per second divided by r, that is the radius of curvature. So according to the fundamentals, so force is measured. So our force is nothing but mass into acceleration, or otherwise F is m into a. So where mass is going to be weight by the gravity, so that is W by G here. So then the acceleration, so as we are been measuring, it is going to be a radial one. So just to substitute W square by r in the equation of the force. So next we are going to be ending with, suppose if you are going to be substitute this value, so it is going to be force is going to be W square by G into r. So that is equation 1 by resolving the forces along the inclined surface. So here the forces are going to be resolved for the inclined surface with respect to alpha. Then the forces are going to be, the force of cos alpha is equal to W of sin alpha. It means, so whatever the force, that is the centrifugal force, it is causing to keep the vehicle in stable or in equilibrium, the same thing it has to be equal to the centrifugal force or the center of gravity. It is measured with an angle of alpha. So that is, we are going to be using or equating both the forces here. So that is F of cos alpha is equal to the weight multiplied by sin of alpha, where F, so from the equation it is going to be W square by Gr, whereas cos alpha according to the geometry which is going to be G by S or G over S. Similarly sin alpha is going to be E over S. So substitute this numerical value in the equation 2 and we are going to be ending with super elevation E is equal to V square over the G into R multiplied by G, when the V is going to be measured in terms of meter per second. Similarly, if you are directly reducing the formula for the speed in terms of kilometer per hour, so just substitute all the numerical values, and so the speed is going to be 103.6, that is going to be a multiplication factor. Just convert this equation, and the final equation for kilometer per hour, the super elevation is going to be equal to capital of G multiplied by 0.278, so that is the speed when it's been converted to kilometer per hour, divided by G is 9.81 multiplied by the radius of the curve. So this is the standard formula we are going to be using to get back the value of a super elevation when it is being measured with respect to the speed of the vehicle. So then it is going to be with respect to radius of the curve. So or otherwise the standard formula, if it is going to be in terms of a meter, is GV square by 127 R. So or otherwise if it is centimeter, so just it is going to be 1.27 by R in the denominator. So where G is going to be a gauge which is measured in terms of meter, V, that is a capital V, is going to be the speed in terms of kilometers per hour, and r is going to be the radius of a curve in meter. Suppose the standard equations are going to be deduced for the different types of gauges what we are been using in India. Say for example, if you are going to be using a broad gauge which is going to be 1.676 meters of a width, similarly meter gauge of a 1 meter, narrow gauge of 0.762. So, in few of the authors will say its range of narrow gauge is varied from 0.61 to 0.76. So, in this case we are took narrow gauge as 0.762 meters. Just substitute in the previous formula. So, super elevation for a broad gauge track, suppose if it is going to be a broad gauge. So, this is the equation. So, the final equation is going to be 1.315 times of v square by r. So, super elevation is going to be in terms of centimeter. Similarly, for meter gauge and also for the narrow gauge. So, from the equation, so G is going to be a dynamic gauge when it is measured in terms of a millimeter. So, this is equal to 1750 mm for broad gauge, and also it is going to be 1058 for meter gauge. So, suppose if you are going to be concerned with the dynamic gauging, so it is going to be in terms of a dynamic gauge if you are going to be using it. So, this is going to be the values for super elevations. So, in this table the maximum value of super elevation as prescribed by the Indian Railways. So, according to the different types of gauges. So, first one is going to be the broad gauge. So, when it is going to be in group A, group B, C, D of route network. So, under normal condition minimum is going to be 165, with special case that with respect to the chief engineer permissions it is going to be extended to 185 mm. So, next moving on to the meter gauge. So, in all the types of routes it is going to be 90 mm to a special case of 100 mm. In case of narrow gauge, so it is going to be 65 to 75 mm of the cant or super elevation. That is the maximum value or limiting value we can provide it. Moving on to the next concept, that is called cant deficiency. Cant deficiency is the difference between the equilibrium cant or the super elevation that is necessary for the maximum permissible speed on the curve. So, when compared with the actual cant or super elevation which is being provided, that is the difference between the actual to the equilibrium cant which is being provided. It is called the cant deficiency. Cant deficiency is limited due to the two consideration. One is higher the cant deficiency, greater will be the discomfort. So, higher will be the cant deficiency, it lead to greater unbalanced with respect to the centrifugal forces has been concerned, which in turn causes the requirement of a stronger track with respect to the fastening, and that is going to be having withstand the greater the lateral force which is being exerted due to this phenomena. So, next is going to be the negative cant or the super elevation. So, elevation of a outer rail below the inner rail of the turnout or a branch at place where it going to meet a man track or the main track. So, that is going to be called as a negative super elevation. So, in this case just have the observation. So, at this point of EAB, so this is going to be the crossing, or it is called as a branch line, and this is a main line. So, in this case just exactly at the point of a crossing we have to provide. So, this is going to be the outer rail and this is going to be the inner rail. So, at this juncture we are been providing an super elevation as a negative one. So, that is going to be important for a branching of rail or track system. So, how we are going to provide the negative super elevation over a branch? So, we are going to be calculating by concerning the speed over a main line and also the branch line. So, the equilibrium of a super elevation for a branch line is going to be calculated first by using the standard formula. So, that is E is equal to Gv square by 127 R. Based on that one, the equilibrium super elevation can be deduced by using the Kant deficiency. So, the Kant deficiency CD, so that is going to be E minus of C of D, that is E is going to be the regular super elevation or the actual, it is going to be calculated, minus the Kant deficiency, it is going to be provided. So, according to the condition, so 75 mm is going to be the Kant deficiency for broad gauge, 50 mm for meter gauge. Values are regularly used for the calculation. So, the maximum permissible speed on the main line is also going to be obtained based on the rate of super elevation it is been provided by concerned and the allowable Kant deficiency, that is going to be adding x plus of C of a D. So, where x is going to be the rate of super elevation, then C of D is going to be allowable rate of Kant deficiency, two values where we are going to be calculated. So, which one is going to be the safe speed is calculated based on these two criteria. The smaller of the two values is going to be taken as maximum permissible speed for the main line. So, next moving on to the curves and its type. So, as we know that the alignment is not going to be always straight, but in some part it needs to be get diverted. So, it may be in the horizontal plane or in the vertical plane. So, it is inevitable to provide the curves for a very small section for the geometrics. So, the uses of curves is going to be warranted in the following condition. So, as I explained, so in order to bypass the natural or artificial obstacles or the hillocks or whatever the thing. So, in order to provide a easier gradient to diversion from the straight track or the straight route, so curves are necessary. The route line through the area where we are having a traffic potentiality, there also we need to have the curve, and also in order to balance the earthwork, it may be in cutting or filling, by minimizing the cost of construction, curves are going to be essential. These are all the warrants for the curves. So, as we know that in surveying principle, curves are always going to be classified with respect to the plane. One is with respect to horizontal plane and also the vertical plane. Similarly, Indian Railways are also going to be classifying the curves with respect to horizontal plane and also the vertical plane. So, in the horizontal plane, we are going to be providing a simple curve. Okay. So, next is going to be the compound curve. So, as we are already studied in surveying, so simple curve is going to be having a unique radius. So, whereas in compound curve, the same center or the origin of a circle or a curve. So, where we are going to be having two radiuses. So, that is going to be a compound. So, reverse curve and also the deviation curve. So, this is in a horizontal plane we are going to be having. So, this type of curve. So, similarly, if you are moved to the vertical plane, or we are going to be having a summit curve. So, summit curve and also the valley curve. So, these are going to be the two types of curve usually we are providing. So, obviously, in any of these curves are going to be there in the track system, hence a systematic study is been needed. So, moving on to the type of a curve, it is called as a transition curve. So, why we are going to provide a transition curve? So, the transition curve is a parabolic curve which is going to be introduced between the straight and a circular curve between the two branches of a compound curve. So, why it is being provided? The primary objective is to decrease the radius of a curve gradually from infinite to a straight on the circular curve. So, for a selected radius. So, this is going to be applicable to inner and outer rail. So, this is the primary objective. Apart from that one, so to attain a gradual rise for a desired super elevation, so transition curves are going to be provided. So, apart from this primary objectives, the secondary objectives of providing transition curve is the gradual increase or a decrease with respect to the centrifugal force on the vehicle, in order to provide comfort for the passenger for smooth running over the rail. No sudden application or releasing of the force as encountered where in case of derailment are greatly reduced. So, these are the primary and secondary objectives of providing a transition curves. So, as we said the transitions curve is playing as a vital role in providing both safe and comfortable journey without jerks or comfort journey. So we are going to have some requirement. So ideal transition curve is always going to be have the following requirement. So first one, it should be preferably tangential to the straight line of the track. So always it should be tangential with respect to the straight line of a track has been concerned. The length of transition should be such a way that the curvature may increase at a same rate as the super elevation or rate of super elevation increases. So this curve should join in a circular arc in tangentially. So it should be tangential to both the straight line of the track and also the circular curve. Next is the length of the curve should be so adequate to attain the final super elevation it is provided on the track system. So how do you going to have or the requirement we have studied, then we are going to be having a different types in order to meet these type of requirement, that is a tangential or the gradual increase with respect to rate of super elevation. So tangential to circular curve, we are going to be having different types of transition curves. So namely it is going to be the spiral curve. First one is going to be called as the spiral curve. So it is going to be called as an ideal curve as it satisfies all the requirement of transition curve. So this radius of spiral curve is going to be the alpha. It is going to be 1 over the length of the curve. So that is going to be called as the spiral curve. Moving on to the next category of transition curve, it is called as a cubic parabola. In this type of transition curve, the rate is going to be decreasing over the radius of curvature. So it is going to be as good as 4 degree to 9 degree. Then there is a rapid increase over the radius of a curvature. So usually the equations are going to be represented as y is equal to ARC of x cube. So that is a cubic parabola where c is going to be a constant. Okay, so it is just a product of 1 by 6 of radius of a curve, and line is going to be the total length of transition curve, where x is measured a distance of any point on the tangent from the commencement or starting of the curve. And next category of transition curve is going to be Bernoulli-Lemniscate. So this type of curve where the radius decreases as length increases. So if the radius decreases over length increases, so that radial accelerations goes on falling, but fall is not going to be uniform beyond 30 degree of deflection angle. So that is another type of a curve, that is a Bernoulli-Lemniscate. So depending upon the site condition and the speed or the track system, we can choose any of these with respect to the criteria or the requirement. The same thing we can give in the form of a graphical representation. So it is going to be the axis, so where we are going to be having a different types of a curve. So just look at, this is going to be the dotted lines are going to be the major axis of the curve. So this is going to be the spiral curve, where the first curve what I had explained. So at the 45 degrees of inclination, so at point it is going to be a straighter one, tangential, then it is going to be gradually decreasing. Similarly, if it is going to be a cubic parabola, so it is going to be the shape of the curve is going to be gradually increasing over a period, and also it is going to be falling. So next is going to be the Bernoulli-Lemniscate. So it is going to be the curve nature is going to be like this. So there is a gradual increase and gradual decrease over the gradient. So depending upon the site criteria and design principle, different types of transition curves are going to be used. Moving on to the next one, how do you calculate the length of transition curve if you had been given all the site condition? So according to Indian Railway, so we are going to be deducing, or we are going to be calculating the length of transition curve based on the 3 criteria. So based on this one, first one is going to be the arbitrary gradient. If you are going to be just assuming it is going to be 1 in 7 in 20 as a rate of super elevation, then the length of transition curve is going to be 7.2. So sometimes length of curve is also going to be written as L of S, so it is not a problem. So similarly, it is based on rate of change of cant deficiency. Suppose if you are going to be made the length of transition curve based on cant deficiency, that is going to be 0.073 d into V max. Suppose if it is going to be rate of change of super elevation, so it is the same equation, that is going to be L of 0.073 E into V of M max. So where E is going to be the actual cant or super elevation in terms of centimeters. So try to remember it is in terms of centimeter. So then length of curve what we are going to be obtained by using this formula is in terms of a meter. Then capital D is going to be the cant deficiency for a maximum speed, that is in terms of centimeters, and similarly capital V is going to be the maximum speed. So whichever one is going to be the length, so that is going to be highest is concerned for length of transition curve. So this is with respect to transition curve. So to prepare this session, so once again we had referred the same standard textbook according to the syllabus and web references for the preparation of this session.